These are very interesting verses. Verse 16, in your name, so misunderstood. In your name, that is, in your justice, in your strength. It's not about the literal name of or sacred name of God, who not even the Jews know. So if you're a Gentile, don't pretend to know what the Jews themselves don't know. Verse 18, the shield. Again, if you got a good study Bible, you'll probably be taken to Psalm 46, verse 9, or you should be. Now, this psalm is interesting to me because, again, I've done some study on it. By the way, sorry, I mean Psalm 47, verse 9. But in the Greek translation, as you know, in the Greek translation of the Psalms, they either skip or jump a chapter. Anyway, it comes earlier. Psalm 46, verse 9 in the Greek translation, which is reflected in the NIV and ESV, if you have a, or your NASV, they're actually translating the Greek. Now, how do we know this? Well, they read, the nobles of the nations assemble as the people of the God of Abraham. For the kings, and that's that same Hebrew word that Psalm 89 translated as shield, translated here as the kings of the earth belong to God, and of course, God is greatly exalted. So if you compare that with the Hebrew, what the Hebrew reads, Net Bible has, so they retain the Hebrew, unlike the NIV and others, or the Holman Christian Study Bible. Look at this difference. It might look not like a big difference, but it is. The nobles of the peoples have assembled with the people of the God of Abraham. For the leaders, that is, those shields, right, in the Hebrew, of the earth belong to God. He is greatly exalted. So you can only see what I'm trying to say here if you're looking at both translations here. But the big difference is there, as you can see, as the people of God, the nations assemble, not with the people of God. That's a big difference, isn't it? This psalm presents the nations as the people of God themselves. They belong to God. They're not just with the people of God. They are identified as the people of God. Probably alluding to what I call the widescreen gospel, that one day the nations will be redeemed. Just as the nation of Israel will be redeemed, so will the rest of the nations of the world. Again, God has a remnant, not just with Israel, but he has a remnant in every other nation. And that's part of the gospel that's never preached. Well, the gospel itself is never preached according to our biblical standards, but that part of the gospel is key. And that's that great widescreen gospel. It's not just a little screen gospel.